Farmageddon, if you can still call it that, was a hit. Games this week, Big 12 squad. Let's get after it. Where's the button, Drake? Come on.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad, sponsored by Game Time. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up, it's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big 12 squad.
And welcome to the Squad Show, the Big 12 squad here at Locked On Insert School here. We are joined by Cody Stovall, Chris Lovell, JT Wistow, Mountaineer Paul, Nick Maravets, Kevin Borba, and Christian Ron. Fellas, we've got football games this week. Exciting times to be had. We also have a potential scaredy cat situation. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point here. But Nick Maravets, new guy Nick, is crashing the party 1-0. And
let's go!
Top of the conference.
Not to rub it into Christian's face.
Yeah, everyone claps for Christian's downfall over there.
The biggest story of the weekend, though, to me is, are we going to call this something different now? The civil battle between farmers that happened in Ireland one time, and then we stopped calling it Farmageddon. Like, what can this possibly be called? Nick, I think as the victor, you get to write history here.
I like fight for the potato, but that's just because we would be the victor every time. I can't believe that this is happening to us. This is a historic rivalry. I don't understand why we're having these kinds of conversations, but I guess at the end of the day, the rivalry is going away. And so does it even really matter? Like that shouldn't be happening. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah,
how did it get
famine
lost?
2.0 is what it
what
should
happened?
be. Because
how did it get lost? Like Utah and BYU.
The famine. Oh my God, the famine's a great.
How did this get lost in the scheduling lexicon the Big 12 supposedly had? Like, how did this rivalry get lost?
Yeah, what's the explanation that they gave both schools?
They just don't like us, I think.
It was a terrible explanation.
Anti-farmer agenda is, I think, the official line here. So
they don't love ag.
Hold on. Who's throwing a hissy fit about the name Farmageddon?
They've changed the name. I mean, Christian, Nick, y'all jump in. The name is going away.
Who's they? When did this happen?
Who's they?
They and them, Parker.
It's a Big 12 thing. The Big 12 came out and said it's no longer going to be the official term or name of the rivalry. There was something, I guess, negative about it. It is funny that we called it some form of an Armageddon and now it's gone. We joked once, I think, on the show before about like, can Farmageddon happen not on American farmland, but on Irish farmland? I don't know what the solution is to it. Nick, Iowa State guy, and again, you get to write it. Is there more to the story that I'm missing, or what is it about the name that is so, air quotes, wrong?
I'm actually, this is new news to me, so I'm reading this here. It looks like Reese Davis and Pete Thamel hate it, and that's because they hate the Big 12. They just don't like that there is something exciting happening in the middle of the country.
Baby Nick.
I don't know how else to like. What are we even doing? That's a great name.
Yes.
This saga was like an onion. That's what it really was. It
started
with Reese Davis, ESPN. They peeled back the layer. People thought it was ESPN that actually hated Farmageddon. They peeled back the layer even more. They're like, no, it's the Big 12 that actually hates Farmageddon. And then the layer got peeled back even farther. It's like it's actually the ADs of both schools of Kansas State and Iowa State that never like the quote unquote moniker. They never actually used it as an official word, although it's been around all social medias and everywhere since 2009. So if this is a marketing poll, I don't understand it, but
is that what Avery Johnson family was fighting over? They were fighting over whether to call Farmageddon or not.
Man, low hanging fruit, buddy. Oh man,
I'm not touching that one.
My jaw hit the floor.
I'll save that one for locked on Big
floor.
12.
A lot like Avery Johnson's dad hit the floor of that puddle or whatever they were fighting on top of. Christian, you sound sore, and I have to ask why. Because do you feel
not St. Bill Snyder sore?
Not St. Bill Snyder sore. Different kind of sore. Similar sore, but different kind of sore.
Right.
Christian, are you sore for some reason? Because it doesn't feel like you're necessarily out of the race yet. Am I missing something?
You guys quit coming at my dude Christian here, man. I feel like he's getting piled on.
I'm not sore worried about this game at all. I mean, it was a great game, but Look, I think it's a different picture if Dylan Edwards in there. I do, but that I'm not going to play hypotheticals. This is Big 12 squad. JT, I just want to make sure you're aware this is not SEC squad.
Hey,
there's
my
a
team's
lot
still in
of
the
things.
title. My team, I still feel like has a good path to a Big 12 title. Kansas State.
Are you
I don't
saying
know
that
after
you're saying that
performance.
0-1 and 0-1 school is not still in the title race? How many teams? Arizona State and Iowa State. How many losses did they have last year, JT?
No, they had a couple losses, but I
okay.
saw a lot of concerns with that team, man. I'm
This
nervous
is
about them having to go.
Parker just like lit the torch, walked off, and is watching it blow up. He's just sitting over there. Just
Hey, Christian,
Look, what's funny about that metaphor, Chris, is last year Houston beat Kansas State, and it feels like that's exactly what's happened. What could have happened to Kansas State since that happened?
Was this you trying to set the meatball up so you could just give yourself some Houston love? Because if it worked, I'm sure. I
can't believe he didn't throw out the Utah loss in there too, because he never fails to not rub that in my face either.
As year's Thursday hours away from Connor Wegman Glory Day starting up, baby. Just wait for it. It's coming very fast and very furious. Now, I do want to ask, Christian, you said you don't want to touch the fight with a 10-foot pole. Do we know anything about the ankle? The ankle heard around the world that changed the entire game. Edwards' ankle went out in the first, not even
play,
on
basically.
play. Yeah,
it was first play, his punt return. Yeah, he muffed the punt, and personally, I didn't see the injury. Like when they see the replay, it doesn't look like that. He looked like he walked off the field. I'm not saying he, for any means, that he faked it. That's like a rumor that's happening in social media right now. I am not saying that whatsoever. But the X-rays came back negative, which is a good sign. But there's no other news at the moment. They are slowly working their way into practice. We'll see if that works. But they're playing FCS North Dakota this week, a team that is no stranger to playing teams that return to Dublin. They actually were they played Nebraska a few years ago and kept it really close against that Nebraska team in 2022. It was 17-17 going into the fourth quarter. However, I don't think Dylan Edwards plays regardless this weekend. So he'll be fine when it comes to Big 12 play. When JT is ready to crown himself already the Big 12 champion, Dylan Edwards will put 200 on him. Don't worry.
Christian, what did you think of my hot take Friday that Iowa State would win, but they wouldn't make the Big 12 title game because it would be K-State? Because these teams are going to look so much different by week 9 that's the only reason I hate it being a Big 12 season opener.
Yeah, you flip the meme where you usually say you got me in the first half. Well, you got me in the second half because I really hated the first portion of that, saying that Iowa State was going to win. But hey, I do think Kansas State's still going to be a good team. And I think there's going to be a lot of overreactions because it's the first actual game of the season that we got to see. And, the first half was a monsoon. I think you put every other Big 12 team in that same situation, and you're probably going to have some overreactions as well. This is a dog-eat-dog conference, guys. You guys all know that. This is insane. One loss in week 1, 2, or 3 is going to change any of that for any of these teams.
I too think that Kansas State is maybe the top team in the conference, and we beat them. So
Kansas State's really. First of all, we got Mountaineer Paul has like 15 Mountain Dews in his hand, so I just got to give him a shout out for that. For how many? You can't see because his name tag's covering.
It's like he took a convenience store.
It's his popcorn.
All the Mountain Dews in the world. And I also just want to say this, Christian, I still think Kansas State's a really good team. I just think it's going to be hard for them to not have 2 more losses in Big 12 play with some of these upcoming games they have left. The Big 12 is a loaded conference. And to me, I think it's just going to be a hard for whoever loses that game and whoever loses any game, just an uphill battle, especially this early in the season.
We piled on Christian for a second now. This is an audio medium, although Paul is used to the visual jokes. Thumbs up, thumbs down, though, for the folks watching. We'll call it out for the folks listening. Is Iowa State got a clear path to the championship game? Do we feel that much better about them after this than if they lost 24-21?
Well, I was going to ask Christian this actually, because I think a lot of this game came down to there was some coaching decisions made on the Kansas State side that were pretty risky, almost reckless. Obviously, Iowa State played well enough to win this game, but you going for it on your own 29 with 8 minutes to go, that was the game. Why was that decision made? I don't know, but I feel like if decisions were made differently, and the whole game was aggressive, right? Kansas State was going for it early. Iowa State went for it on their 4th and 3 as well. So, but I just thought it was a lot more coaching than playing from Kansas State.
Yeah, Chris, I'm not sure if your views are going down on Locked On Texas Tech this week because they're all over commenting on my page about Matt Wells and all the offensive coordinator conversations, because they're definitely doing that for sure. However,
there was some of that. There was some of that.
Yeah,
on our
it's
stuff.
definitely happening. I'm not ready to call it quits on Matt Wells. There was questionable play calling. There's no doubt about it, but there was also some good play calling in there. You were without Dylan Edwards your entire first game for the entire game, and you were planning on utilizing him. That play call on fourth down, they were 1 for 4 on fourth downs. You just can't have that. You can't win football games when you run for 4.
Christian, who was the kicker? Who was the kicker like in place for Saturday?
Hang on, there's an F-18 going by, so you keep talking.
No, I was asking who was the place kicker? Who was the place kicker supposed to be on Saturday for Kansas State?
Luis Rodriguez. He is a transfer from community college they got in the summer. Their freshman that they got. Yeah, their freshman that they got was hurt, and he's out for the rest of the season, it sounds like. So they weren't satisfied with him.
The freshman that they got's from about 2 miles from where I live right now, Cub Patton.
Yeah, he sounds like he's going to be – it sounds like he got a long-term injury, so I think he's going to be out for the entire season.
Okay, so they were clearly afraid to trot the kicker out there. Is that's
the wording that Chris Kleiman used, and you take this as you wish, is that he thought the air was heavy, and they wanted to get about 3 yards closer before they hit the field goal. So you take that as you wish.
Air heavy makes me want to talk a lot about coaching. We got coaching decisions that have been made and coaching decisions that will be made this weekend in 1 second. But first, Big 12 squad friends, it is time to stop paying full price for gas. Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You'll make up to $300 a year from just buying the gas you already need. They call it the Truck Stop Conference. Why not fill up and get some money in your pocket as well? At first, I thought it was too good to be true. It's totally legit. Real people getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code FOOTBALL for 25 cents back per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
What a pro.
All right, now seamless transition, as Chris seemed to point out there. But I do want to ask about coaching decisions and also bring in the other 1-0 Big 12 member here, Derek Johnson, the Kansas Jayhawks.
Surrounded.
On the coaching decisions made over the weekend, I personally don't really get criticizing going like one guy going for it on fourth down and not the other guy when it really feels like playing the results. One guy made it, one guy missed it. I kind of feel like on social media, on a little bit of an island. That's not the first time that's happened to me in my life by any stretch. But you all have coaches that you have followed for a long time. Would your coach have gone for it on fourth down there if you were in Kleiman's spot or if you were in Campbell's spot? JT, you're shaking your head. No, sir.
Mike Leach would have.
Because Kyle Whittingham, that's not Kyle Whittingham. He would never put the game in danger like that. Like, he's ultra conservative that way. He will literally, there's been games where it's like, Kyle, why do you continue to run the ball? And it's like, I do not want to risk an interception. Even if we were going to win like a 14-7, 14-10 ugly game, I'm not risking giving up the field position battle. So I was surprised that Chris Kleiman was okay with that decision to go for it. And I mean, I don't know, maybe Christian, he was even the one who said go for it there. So I was very surprised.
Christian,
did say go for it.
Did they do the analytics thing?
And they do it slightly, to my knowledge.
You do math and
everyone does it at least a little bit.
Well,
yeah, do it, Cody. Cody, do you do the analytics, Cody?
Well, but that's the problem with trying to understand it. Is like you can't, you either do it or you don't, and like it's all who's the favorite in the game, what are the conditions, like how many possessions do we have left in the game, and that's the reason that Matt Campbell went for it at the end, and the analytics absolutely say you're crazy if you don't go for it.
According to Chris Kleiman, he said the reason they went for it with 8 minutes to go. I don't agree with this one, but I do love the fact that they were aggressive the entire game on third and fourth down. I will say that out loud. But they said the reason that they went for it is because they didn't have faith in the defense because the defense was gassed. For both Iowa State and Kansas State's defense was absolutely gassed. But they were saying Hansen was running all over him, which was happening in the fourth quarter. Kansas State only had 8 offensive plays in the fourth quarter. Iowa State outran them 78-0 in the fourth quarter. They didn't think that they were going to be able to get the ball back. And after they threw that one play touchdown pass, they didn't for 6 minutes to go, Iowa State completely run the game. So that was their thought process. And look, you can judge the spot and you can say that Avery Johnson got the spot or didn't get it. The review wasn't going to matter regardless because of the weather conditions, but you can't put the referees in that situation. You can't.
Would have helped if there were lines on the field, though.
100%. But you can't let the refs dictate the game, period. If it's 4th and 1 on your own 30, you got to get 3 yards.
New guy Nick, I'm sure, loved going for it on 4th because they got it. Derek, y'all didn't have to go for it on 4th down to go 1-0 over the weekend. What's the secret sauce there? What is Kansas cooking up in Lawrence?
Well, play Fresno State instead of having to play K-State or Iowa State. That certainly helps in week 0.
Man, Pickett looked good, though. Pickett and Downs looked good.
Yeah, my question is on that really quick. Who's played more games? Is it Jelon Daniels, Jeff Withey, or Perry Ellis? Please tell me.
The correct answer would be Mitch Lightfoot that we're going.
Mitch Lightfoot. Okay.
Derek, you mentioned it's Fresno State. Did you glean anything from that one other than the fact that it felt good to put some points on the board?
No, I did, because if you go back and look at Fresno State, what they've done, like go back to their schedule since 2019, and like all the Power 4, Power 5 teams they're playing, they're losing by 7, they're losing by 8, they're winning some of the games. I mean, they won at Arizona State like 29-0 a couple of years ago. They won at Purdue a couple of years ago. They have a lot of close losses. So the fact that they won as big as they did, I mean, it was 31-7, and they basically stopped calling real plays over the last like quarter and a half. Like they didn't want to show anything on tape because they got the big game with Missouri coming up in a couple weeks. So I think that there is a little bit of something from the standpoint of like, if you're going to play a team who's not as good as you, go make it look that way. And I do think you deserve credit for doing that.
I liked week 0 for a lot of reasons, but one is that I didn't have to root for Baylor. And without Cam here, rooting for Baylor this weekend is going to suck. Like, I don't know how it's like.
You don't have to.
But we want them to beat Auburn.
Yeah,
why we don't want them to beat Auburn.
I think it's the most important game on the Big 12 schedule this week, more so than Utah, UCLA. I think they need to beat Auburn this week. What?
This week, yes.
No, Kevin, not Georgia Tech. No.
ACC is a much more ACC. Big 12 is a big thing to me. Chris,
really?
You stuck out and said you don't have to root for Baylor though, and that baffles me. You don't think?
What are you doing, Lovell? What are you doing?
It doesn't matter who you root for. The result will be the result. If it's going to drive you crazy to sit there and root for like those stupid freshmen running out there, the Baylor line thingy. It's a bunch of. I mean. Like you don't have to go this route. If Baylor is going to win, then you can parade around and wave your Big 12 banner. But if Auburn wins, you just got to bow down to Blackerby. But we'll all be okay, man.
I think Chris and JT
bow down to Blackerby.
Realistically, the Big 12 needs good PR, right? We need to beat every team that we're playing against.
Well, then family members need to quit fighting each other. We need to like leave the name of the game that has been played for 100 years. Leave it alone. Yeah. We need to have a normal.
I was press though, Chris. You know what they say about press? All press is good press.
No, it's just like, geez,
but
man.
Colorado has to beat Georgia Tech because I think the Big 12 and the ACC are sort of like on this island of like we want to be with the big dogs, but we're not really considered a part of the upper echelon of college football yet. Whether that's fair or not, that's a different discussion. And then Baylor needs to beat Auburn because, I mean, if Baylor's going to be a contender in the Big 12 and Auburn's sort of like this mid-tier program, the worst thing that could happen is one of our better teams loses to a mid-tier SEC program. Granted, we don't know what Auburn is.
Yeah, but what? Like my thing is, do we honestly think in our heart of hearts, do we honestly think that the Big 12 is going to get a second bid, an at-large bid to the playoff this year?
It would have to be
possible.
Only if I think they have the quarterbacks.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but I mean that seems pretty far-fetched.
Well,
You're going to have to
only
if we win all these
way
games,
is 11-1 with losing in Arlington. 11-1 losing in
SMU
Arlington.
last
That's why I lean on Borba's game because I think one of the ACC or Big 12 will. And that would be a moment for the Big 12 to say that. Now, a year ago, I would have said the same thing, and BYU beat SMU. I just feel like that matchup actually matters some as well. And
there's a really good chance that Auburn is not as good as Georgia Tech when it's all said and done. But if Baylor beats Auburn, we'll talk about it for weeks. If Colorado beats Georgia Tech, we're going to hardly talk about it.
We got to talk about the transitive property too.
That's fair.
I think we have to have
Georgia. So if Colorado beats Georgia Tech, then that means they're nearly as good as Georgia. Is that what the transitive property tells us?
Georgia Tech's really good.
I don't math good, but I
really
think that's right, Borba.
Paul,
you're chiming in.
Big 12
Speaking of
has
math.
to have these. If you're going to have any chance of getting two teams, like even Oklahoma State, Oregon, do we have to win? Maybe not, but it needs to be really daggone close. Baylor needs to beat Auburn. Georgia Tech needs to get beaten by Colorado. SMU needs to get beaten by BYU.
Oklahoma State needs to beat Tennessee Martin. I mean, don't forget the
absolutely.
And then Oregon next week, right, Cody?
Don't forget about Bobby Moe.
Yeah,
West Virginia plays Bobby Moe. We can't lose to Bobby Moe.
Can't lose to Bobby. Now, Paul's chiming in, and I actually want to open the next segment with Paul because we're talking about beating SEC schools, and Paul had one flat out run away on him, and I want to get the most authentic Mountaineer Paul we can on that. But first, and when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, you got to get your crew moving forward. The Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep literally tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. Seriously, a big-time game changer. You never, when the thing pops up at last minute, you got to get it. That's where you go to supplyhouse.com. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com, sign up for free, and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. And this weekend, it's game time for your favorite Big 12 football team, and it's Game Time, the app. College football is back. We could not be more excited. Locked on the tailgates, rivalries, energy in the stands, energy in this podcast, energy everywhere with football season in the mix. There's just nothing like it. Let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices at checkout, jumping up out of nowhere. That's why we at Locked On use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay every single time. Pull up a Game Time, just a couple taps here and there, and you can find tickets to any game in your area. Talking your favorite college football team can be tickets get in can be as low as $25, and that's the actual price. No hidden fees. You just got to toggle the thing over to make sure. Great place to find last minute tickets at the lowest prices. Take the guys who are buying college football tickets. Game Time, down the Game Time app. Fan account. You just go to Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Turn to apply again. That's promo code Locked On College. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Paul, what did you do to the post Nick Saban Alabama team to make that program run away scared?
They were running scared, to quote Cody Stovall. I think it's something that I don't think West Virginia, the language in the contract as well is weird for me. It's like, thought we were going to get a payout, but in the small print it says, due to the tumultuous nature of college football, no payout for you, West Virginia. So unfortunately, we lose Alabama. There's no payout, and we've got to try to figure out who we're going to schedule next. What it does open up, though, because the backyard brawl goes away for a couple of years after this year, it does open up a small hole for. Think about this as well. Louisville was also losing an SEC team due to the 9th game. It opens up a possibility for a big Louisville rivalry rematch, or possibly a Pitt or Virginia Tech. So it could benefit the Big 12, although nothing would be better than beating an Alabama, no matter who the coach is.
Yeah.
But it's a mixed result within the fan base. A lot of people wanted to see this game happen. A lot of people, just the storyline of Rich Rodriguez, who turned down Alabama to go to Michigan, that led to Nick Saban getting the Alabama job. Like, there was a lot of storylines that could have played out within that game leading up to it, what if kind of stuff. And it would have been fun to play those things out hypothetically. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen. We lose Alabama on the schedule, and they ran away, absolutely ran away. It wasn't West Virginia. That's for damn sure. We were standing pat. We wanted to do that game. We're going to totally forget that Neil Brown openly said in a press conference, we got to get rid of Alabama. He literally said it openly in the press conference.
Why is Alabama so scared of WV, man?
I just know,
record versus
Tell
the
it like
SEC.
it is.
I just
Chris.
know my man Paul. He's going to get Coastal Carolina on his schedule, and he's going to like it. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. Yeah,
Take
the
the
Chanticleer's
Beach,
home
I'm
and
good.
home is coming, man.
One of the
Results
better
in St. Myrtle
mascots,
Beach.
actually. Paul, I got to ask, would this have meant more as far as like vitriol if Saban were still there as a West Virginia native, or without him there, it's like, okay, as long as we get another Power 4 school, we okay?
That's an interesting question. I think there is a section of the fan base that resents Nick Saban for turning down the West Virginia
Pause.
job
I
this
think
time when
we
it was
all
open.
resent and hate Nick Saban. Can we all just like? I don't like Nick
Why
Saban.
do we
No one
hate
likes
Nick Saban? I don't hate him.
No,
Why?
Crazy.
Well, no, I think you need to flip that. There's just a lot of resentment within the West Virginia fan base too,
There you go.
toward a lot of things.
Yeah.
Couches, you know.
He hasn't publicly recognized West Virginia a lot over the years. Now that he's at the desk, he does, and I think it's probably because you want to be. Obviously, you don't want to alienate any fan base. West Virginia, as we know, punches probably as far as per capita as hard as any fan base in the country. So, obviously he doesn't want to piss us off for sure, but he's also got Pat McAfee sitting there next to him as well, right?
Yeah.
So who equals him in power in some ways in this space, in the media space. So
Yeah.
Cody, you hit the group chat with it. Peek behind the kimono here. Cody hit the group chat with this the hardest for sure. I want to give you the floor here. Your first thought when you saw that Alabama was running away from a Big 12 school was
Cowards.
you gonna elaborate at all?
That was
Those
just
reps,
a
Cody.
bunch of Charmin soft individuals. That
dang, that's a good thumbnail too. Maybe I
They're
should
sitting
do
here
that
talking.
one.
They're sitting here talking about we're going to go to a
Let's make it
9-game
thumbnail.
schedule and
It
we're
is.
going
All
to
he
make the non-con more difficult. No, they're not. They're certified Charmin soft, and they're not worth the extra plies of pooping paper that they utilize.
Poop and paper.
Who the heck
put
in
it
the group
nicely.
chat
Thank
is
you.
I
wearing
mean,
kimono?
there's no doubt that if Alabama
Probably
can't
not your
beat
fault.
Vanderbilt, if they can't beat Vanderbilt or Oklahoma, man, then there's no
Well,
doubt.
and now
that
I'm
they didn't want
worried
any
that
part of
now-
West Virginia.
Houston,
Maybe we don't get to
Houston
play
pre
Bama.
Connor Wegman played Oklahoma better than Alabama did. And we that's a
God.
real thing that happened.
Connor Wegman reference, that's the fourth one on the show.
Yeah.
You can put
Okay.
a
What's
chat.
Connor
Drink.
Wegman's record against Alabama and what's his yardage and stuff?
I don't think
know?
he's played a game against Alabama, but if you're
No.
keeping track of the drinking game, I think that's 5. No, so
Who didn't play a game against Alabama, Parker?
Wegman hasn't suited up against Alabama, I don't think.
Hey, we're undefeated
All right.
against Bama. Thank you.
There you go.
Hey, I'm happy
There you
we
go.
just made it 18 minutes into the show before BYU was brought up. So that's already makes it my favorite episode of the year
That's
so
because
far.
Drake's not here, and that's how things roll when Drake's not here. We don't talk about BYU. Dang it, JT.
Hatch is
Speak-
somewhere drinking a Diet Coke float, going, man, what did I miss on this deal?
Somebody needs to clip that last part of him saying,
Chat, clip that.
What I think is funny is
Chad,
y'all
put
watching
that.
Mountaineer Paul though in the bottom of the screen here is there's been 2 or 3 times he goes, "Oh, that's a good thumbnail. Oh, that's a good thumbnail.
Yes.
Oh, that's good."
"Yeah, I think
I
the
feel like
thumbnails."
there's just a cycle of like thumbnails through, like the old like when you come back from a trip in the 1960s and 70s, you'd play like a little PowerPoint looking kind of projector kind of deal, and like just the picture. That's just his brain with thumbnails over and over and over
Yeah.
and over again. No, as far as this goes though, should the other Big 12 schools be upset? Anyone want to jump in? As Cody, I think, called them cowards, that Alabama is not going to play a Big 12 school anymore. Does that impact the conference? Does that impact all of us?
It does impact all of us in a way, right? I mean, the college football is heading into a direction where the SEC and Big Ten are sort of figuring out a way to legally alienate everyone else. And so obviously they implemented this new rule, which means in essence, the SEC and the Big Ten don't have to schedule us, right? The SEC is going to schedule Power 4 teams, but they get to pick those teams, right? And if the Big 12 wants signature wins and we can never play against SEC programs, like if they make a behind closed door agreement to never play us, then obviously we're going to have a tough chance really getting those signature wins and boosting our strength of schedule because we're just going to cannibalize ourselves.
That's an interesting thought that I hadn't even considered yet because I've been so busy today. Our depth chart got released, like a bunch of different things.
That's done.
Is this the first sign of separation, right? Is this the first, or it's like it's not me, it's you, right? Or it's not you, it's me.
Paul, I would say that the multi-billion-dollar TV contracts compared to the multi-million-dollar contracts were probably the first sign of separation.
Well, is this
The next
yeah?
path.
I mean that makes sense for sure. Is this a symptom though, right? This is a symptom.
Hey, Chris.
Speaking of
Really quick,
Central.
Chris. You said you weren't rooting this week for Baylor. I want to know: are you rooting for Utah against UCLA?
Squirrel.
I'm not, I also didn't say that I wasn't rooting for Baylor.
He was saying I didn't have to. Was I think the quote was he just said
I think
I
Chris
didn't
is
have
just
to.
rooting against Edge.
Yeah.
He's just rooting against Kansas.
I know what we're all supposed to do, and it is
Toe the
good for the
company
league
line.
and all that stuff. But yeah, exactly. But we all sit at home. I mean, JT, are you sitting there rooting for the Blue Cougs at times? I mean, come on, tell the truth.
Hey, let's go Portland State this weekend. Come on,
Okay.
Bears debut, Big Sky shot the world, baby. Let's go.
There
Big
you go.
Sky. Shout out to the Big Sky from JT Wichita. JT,
is
you
the
do have
biggest
UCLA
Bruins
this
fan this
weekend, or UCLA. That is this weekend, I guess. I was trying to make sure it's not Monday or one of the odd days. But
Yep,
that
thank
is another big one. We did just skip past it, I guess, and talking about Power 4 matchups. UCLA is not USC in a legacy sense, but tell us, like, do we got a chance as a Big 12 conference this weekend? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we're
Deshaun
favored.
Foster,
We're favored.
baby.
Favored by 6.5. UCLA,
Nico.
so much new going on with them. You look at it, you got Nico's coming over, but even he didn't get to be with them during spring ball. So there's chemistry stuff. Wide receivers, kind of an unknown for them. Offensive line has to come together against a Utah team that's going to blitz and just bring some crazy stuff their way. Defensively, they are replacing a ton, and that was the strength of that team last year. Utah with arguably the best offensive line in college football. I think Utah goes in and makes a big statement in Pasadena. I think it's going to be a good weekend for the Big 12 overall, outside of not trying to throw much shade. I do think Colorado's probably losing, but outside of that, I think it's
JT
gonna be a
sounds
good
as optimistic as I did heading into Dublin.
So what I'm hearing is
Yeah, but we know Utah dominates the Pac-12, so they're fine against
There we
you.
go. Boom.
There we go. Fine.
There we go.
Nicely done.
Can't say anything about us beating
Utah's
Yeah, Matt-
never
Matt
beaten
Campbell
Houston in the
owns
history of their
Kansas State
program,
right now.
but they dominate the Big 12.
Yeah.
JT, did you speaking of your matchup? Have you seen all the Deshaun Foster like locking all the media and everybody
Oh
out of
my
practice
gosh.
and
The
no
coach-
interviews and
The coaches and media stuff is just so insane right now. I think
Yes.
it was a Utah beat writer, Josh Furlong, said it best. In the NFL, they have preseason games. They have open practices to fans, to everyone. And the coaches could not try to restrict things even more. At Utah, we can't watch anything. It's just, and like you said, UCLA is doing the same thing now. Like, it is so out of control. And I know that the importance of wins and losses and jobs are on the line. But if the NFL coaches can overcome it, I think college coaches are pretty smart. I think they could figure out a way to overcome it too. And I'm glad they're at least releasing depth charts now, or not depth charts, excuse me, injury reports.
Well, and that's
And
not
only in
every game or
conference
every
games.
conference. It's only Big 12 conference
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, you won't
This
get- you won't
weekend,
get this
Kevin Borba and the Colorado Buffaloes looking to represent well against a team that almost beat an SEC team. So we'll call that a win. This weekend, we also have the, I guess, absent Cam Stewart and Baylor playing Auburn. So we're hoping for another SEC win there. And JT is going to beat a former SEC quarterback, it sounds like. So that's 3 wins kind of against the SEC this weekend as Big 12 football is kicking off in a big time kind of way.
And
JT,
Parker,
last word before we get out of here.
And the biggest thing on Monday night, the whole world's going to be watching Bill Belichick's debut, and TCU is going to swoop in and steal the show. I think Hoover puts up one heck of a performance, and I think the Big 12 is going to be one of the biggest winners of week 1.
Hosseini, baby.
You being a team Big 12 player all of a sudden. Where did this come from? Who are you?
Our quarterback was like, I love
They
being a
haven't
part of
lost
the Big
yet, that's
12.
why.
He's one of us, Sal. I'm
And
I'm
that's
all in on the
broadcasted.
Big 12.
JT's one of us until Michigan, Ohio State call him. Until then,
In my defense, any of you would, by the way, be up for that too if they called you.
I'll take half the $20 million for a lot worse stuff. Cody of Locked On Oklahoma State. We got Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech. JT Wichita Locked On Utes. Christian Rao Locked On Kansas State. Derek Johnson Locked On Jayhawks. Mountaineer Paul. Guess where he's from? Mountaineer, West Virginia. We got Nick Maravets Locked On Cyclones and Kevin Borba Locked On Buffs. I'm Parker Rainer,
And
also
that's
Locked On
broadcast.
Cougs. Speaking way too fast. Where is Drake when you need him? Somewhere recording with Gary Patterson. More on that next time, I'm sure. This has been the Big 12 Squad, as always. We're supposed to say something in Spanish now.
Dose Grande.
Jose Grande.
Ose Grande.